Hi everyone. So the first, it's an album, okay? So I'm getting the Monk music. Hanging Around. And I'm also getting Rockabye. I think it's Lullaby. But it's the beginning of that song. I remember him talking, and it's this feeling of like what he's saying at the beginning is an emphasis here, a lot of talking. So I'm getting those songs again. I'll link that below. So I like to start off with these videos and telling you guys what I know roughly about these individuals. So first of all, thank you for your suggestion. It is March 5th that I'm going to be recording this. I don't know when it's going to go out. Maybe on Thursday I'll go ahead and post this. We'll see how, or maybe we'll go back to Wednesdays. I wanted to kind of spice it up and start doing Thursdays, but we'll see. So I got the request, and the request S with an S. So I appreciate it. And so I was curious. I went to his YouTube channel and I saw that he did a live today, and I clicked on it because curiosity got the best of me, because I do like to be as uninfluenced as possible when it comes to these, but I was a little bit curious. And so I saw, I'm just gonna switch over now as if I was talking to you, Charles. Okay. So first of all, I feel very familiar to you. I feel a very familiar spirit to you, like very familiar energy. So I don't know if you've been to this channel before, or maybe there's a channeled message, channeled video that's relevant for you, that's somewhere around here, or why it feels there's some sort of like orbiting kind of feeling when it comes to you, as far as like our energies kind of being crossed in some way. Like I don't know, there's a familiar energy when it comes to you. So there's that. Yeah, you know, it feels like you will watch this video, but it's kind of this back and forth feeling of, well, I want to hear what she has to say, but I also don't. Something like that. I'm on the fence on what I want to believe or what I do believe when it comes to her. Not necessarily this, but maybe me in particular. Also kind of impatience, and I see that your insecurities or your frustrations, like fears, right? The fears get masked as frustration, or gets masked as aggression, and you know, like impatience, general anxiety, stuff like that. So I went to your page, I went to that live, and from the gist of it, I just kind of skimmed through. It seems as if you are having some sort of issue when it comes to your brother, who dresses or dressed as a female and apologized to you. I don't know about, I'm not sure, about drugs or something, or accusing you of using drugs, and that you found that out that he was messaging your wife, things like that. Okay, so this is essentially what I got here. Like the first thing that I'm really picking up on when it comes to this is like I feel a lot of pain in my heart. Like genuine pain in my heart, and it feels like it's from both sides. So it does seem like this is supposed to be addressed, this situation with your brother. And I'm also hearing there's not like on the surface, what I say is probably not going to seem very profound or precise necessarily, but it seems like when it comes to you that that's not what your guides, your guardian angels, those of the crossover that are serving as ministers over you, that they don't really want you to feel or experience or see something like extraordinary when it comes to the spiritual side, and like something that's supposed to just, you know, it's like it's okay, because here's the thing is there's a part of your guides purpose, you know, and how they see what's best for you on your journey in this life, which is that it has to feel natural for you. It's not about chasing the next thing. And so if you feel something explosive when it comes to the spiritual side of things, then there's a tendency that you may have to chase that feeling, chase that next explosive encounter. And so that can really misguide you, and in that impatience of, you know, it's the difference between prayer and spell work. You know, it's about putting your requests out there and accepting and acknowledging the path that is destined for you, and the pace that's destined for you, and then accepting that versus doing something forcibly to, you know, create the outcome that you're seeking. So it's like what you think is best for you rather than what actually may possibly be best. And you know, best case, it's not really best case scenario, but maybe on a mental level, best case scenario would be that it would be whatever you want in your mind, but it's not necessarily always the way it plays out. And so there is that tendency I see on your path where things are supposed to feel very natural and fluid for you, and that's where that extraordinary comes in, is in the fluidity of life, in the natural flow of life, in the reflection of life, you know. And I see this long riverbed that's going. It seems like it's a decent decent strength. The water is moving at a decent pace, right? But you can look at it in many different ways depending on your mood. You could say it's too fast. You could also say it's too slow. And so it's this feeling of being present and loving that moment for, you know, and loving the pace that it is at, because it is the pace that it's meant to be. And when you accept that pace, then now you can pay attention to other details that you may overlook, right? You can overlook all of the fish, the tadpoles, the plants, all of the things that make up the ecosystem of this river. And so there's an emphasis on that of being present and accepting where you're at and feeling safe where you're at, so that you can really adjust to being able to see things that you may not be noticing because you're focused on surviving. And and it's not just survival in the material world, it's survival of the mind. There's a feeling that I get from you where it's, am I enough? Am I enough? Am I enough? And this fear that you have of not being enough, or not being seen as enough, or not doing enough, or you know, this feeling of just failure, or even embarrassment, like causing embarrassment. And your guides are coming through so strongly saying that you are enough. And to gain, it's not gaining perspective, because I feel like you have this, but there's a battle of the ego when it comes to you, of walking the walk. You surely know this, but on some level you don't know it inherently, like it's not embedded into your heart yet. You know, there's a block that's there. I mean, technically it is embedded in your heart, technically it is inherent, but the function of the ego is working against you in this way. It feels like, you know, trauma adjusting your perspective on life. And so I'm seeing Calvin and Hobbes, I'm seeing Tigger, I'm seeing Garfield, so that might be significant here. And it feels like someone from the other side's bringing that up. They're pointing this out, so that's a message directly to you about something related to that. And then I'm also seeing lemongrass, and this is connected to a guide. So I'm feeling two particular guides, a third that's kind of further away, but I'm seeing two particular guides. And there's lemongrass that's connected to this. So I don't know if you have an affinity towards lemongrass, or maybe you should. Maybe you should kind of incorporate more lemongrass into your life. If possible, because I'm seeing a connection to lemongrass, or maybe even like, I don't know if you can do weaving with lemongrass. I'm sure you can. It kind of feel, the texture of the grasses or something, but maybe work with lemongrass in some way. It doesn't have to be in like a spiritual way, but just kind of do something with it, cook with it, eat it, drink it, something. But they're bringing that up. They're bringing up lemongrass, one particular guide, and maybe it's going to help in some sort of situation that you're in to improve. But I do see, I see this connection with your brother actually improving. Okay, so that is being brought up, that is being emphasized here. And I don't know, I think I just said it, but I'm going to repeat myself, that is what I'm going to say it's not going to seem on the surface particularly profound. Okay, so we need to circle back to this. Also, not just because everything that I just said, but it's because there's so much that you already know. There's so much that you truly already have discovered. As far as like on an intellectual level, this, and so it's really just validating this for you, and validating that this is important for you to incorporate this into your life. Again, walk the walk. Don't be afraid to live in your truth. Truly live authentically. Don't have those masks up, and don't feel like you have to, I don't know if retaliate is necessarily the word, but it's like react, okay? And then they're also showing like a mosh pit. They're showing it in a way where they're saying that you're kind of getting carried around in different energies. Okay, so hold on. They're telling me to slow down, back up again. Okay, talking about the brother. Okay, so with your brother, it does feel like your brother sincerely loves you, as you, I'm sure, sincerely love him. There's a rare connection. There's a very special and rare connection between you two. And there's a lot of guidance, I guess I would say, from your guys, or someone who's crossed over, that want you guys to stay kind of connected or together in some way, to rebuild this or focus on this. Which is, it's interesting, because when it comes to like okay. Okay, so they're actually showing me the example of my dad and my uncle. They're pretty close. They're always kind of just nagging each other. But they have a really close bond, and no one really understands their experiences as they grew up. I mean, even in their own perspectives, it's kind of, you have your own perspective on life, but also what they have shared. It's very important. And we may all kind of, maybe not we all share some sort of trauma, like some sort of experience with that, but like with my example of my dad and his uncle, they have shared some sort of trauma. They have experienced some sort of trauma when it comes to their upbringing, and so they have their own problems, but it's really best and has served to be best that they are still in each other's lives. And so if you look at it from maybe a different perspective, then maybe the advice would be to separate from your family and to, you know, go completely dark when communicating with your family and everything. But especially if you can kind of enable each other or something. But there's actually a desire from your guides to rebuild this, or to connect and to move forward, progress in this connection that you have with your brother. And I'm really seeing the word codependency, but it's kind of like showing me this in the way that, like, maybe from other people's perspective. I mean, you have to obviously be honest about it with yourselves, but is it necessarily codependency, or is it just a healthy, loving relationship that you share with someone, that you feel safe expressing yourself and being with this person, and accepting this person, you know, unconditional love, and just feeling like you're very close to them and choosing to be around them, not necessarily codependent, right? And you can look at someone who's possibly has trauma or toxicity, and they would label that as codependency when it's not, or there's like a good way to function in that kind of dependency, right? Even with healthy relationships, there is a balance of needing each other. And so that's what I'm saying, is like there's a connection here, from your guides saying that you guys need each other in some way. And so it feels like your brother is really going down this path. I'm seeing 2 pillars, and just like this strong, like, soul is a strong spirit walking through the 2 pillars. And so I'm seeing your brother really identifying who he is on a spiritual level, really just becoming more evolved spiritually, especially when it comes to these repetitive experiences that he seems to be having when it comes to the 2 of you, because he's going into this period of really reflecting on it and trying to work on himself and better himself, and become better as just on a spiritual level. And so I do see that your path, I think there's an insecurity when it comes to this, because it's like someone becoming better because of my perceived failures. And what your guides really want to show you is that there is no failure when it comes to your experiences in life. That's just not possible. It's not a failure. But you may be serving as a lesson for someone. You may be serving as experience for someone to become better, but that is on your particular path. Where you are right now is where you're meant to be, and you are enough. You have always been enough. You will always be enough. No matter what, you will always be enough. And they're showing in regards to how, for example, the body always wants to survive. It will look for ways to survive, right? No matter what kind of things that you put your body through, it's going to try and change physiologically and physically to adjust to whatever the circumstances is, including with trauma and how people act and react in situations. It's because the body is in survival mode, right? And so I'm feeling this being brought up because they want you to know that what you're doing right now, what you're experiencing right now, is putting you. It's they're highlighting how just again, like, you're enough. That's it. That's it. like God, and then they're showing like God in you, like God's within you and God's in everything that you experience. And so that's the perspective that you need to take. That's the perspective that you need to hold on to and keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pursuing, because you don't want to get bogged down by things that are just going to pull you back into the ego, in the sense that you're going to constantly need to recalibrate. And they're showing balance, and it's like, well, the perception of having balance means that there's a lack of something on either end, right? And so in truth, as you exist here and as a human being, there has to be balance between the ego and the spiritual, in the sense that they have to coexist in some way. And so there's a feeling here of really truly being able to embody that fusion of spirit and ego, and what that can look like, and how you can channel all of your energy towards this honestly, this new path is what I'm saying. It's this feeling well, I feel very sad. I feel very sad. You know, I have like this tickle in my throat, but it's like like choking up. It feels like choking up. Like really just getting super, super, super sad. Because it's like your guys really, they want you to know, they want to nourish you. Like they want to know that you're being, it's not just they want to nourish you, but it's like they want you to know that you're nourished. They want you to know that you're safe. And when I say that, they show me Amelie, my cat. I have a bunch of feral cats. Not a bunch, I mean, to me it's a bunch, but anyway, the mama cat. And they're showing me how she's progressed so much from when I first kidnapped her. And you know, I'll put her into my room and I'll lay in bed with her and I'll talk to her, and she kind of like, before she'll curl up in this tight ball and she'll lay on her side like she wants to just either play dead or attack me, and her eyes will get super, 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 super big. She'd be like so terrified, and sometimes she would hiss and paw at me and stuff, and she was just scared, right? And so eventually I finally got her where she's like very friendly, able to be pet. Before, it took me so long to get her on my bed. It would take me forever, and now it's very easy. But anyway, and I would just move her. I would literally just like be like, okay, whatever, she attacks me, I don't care. And I'm be like, you're a brave girl, you're a smart girl, you're a strong girl. Like I'll just tell her all these things and try and get her to change her posture, you know, like, hey, you deserve to feel safe in this space. Like that's what I want for her. I don't want her to feel reactive when she's living here. That's not a way to live. And so it's, your guys really want you to feel like you can be free. You can be free to be you. You don't have to be in a reactive state. And so when I go back to the mosh pit example that they were talking about, is they're saying prior to the mosh pit, they're showing me a cross, and I'm hearing the word crucify. So it's this feeling of crucifying yourself, or crucify your ego, like kill your ego. And they're showing like literally Jesus on the cross, and then like the thief or whomever it was that he was with, and how it's like you don't, they want to put this in perspective, but then they'll bring it back together. So just bear with me with this. But they're showing the thief, and the thief's asking Jesus for forgiveness and like being welcome into heaven or whatever he was asking, right? And Jesus is like, yeah, sure, cool. Paraphrasing, right? But the thief was not in church when this happened, right? He wasn't saved when he was in church. He didn't follow the straight and narrow, but through sincere desire and will to be of the light, he was granted that, right? And so they're also showing, it's like following Jesus was very new age at the time, right? And so it's this feeling here where it's like, you don't have to go to the extremities of anything necessarily in order to be who you're destined to be. But also, you don't have to perceive things in such extreme manners either, right? There's such a vast experiences in order to kind of be a certain way. And again, it's this emphasis of like, this, but the way that you navigate your life is in the extremities. And so they're actually pointing that this is supposed to happen. This is how it's actually supposed to be. Now, it's not necessarily just because you live a certain way that others have to live the same way as you, but it's for you to actually gain that experience and to see it in that way, right? And to be able to empathize with other people, or sympathize, or whatever kind of, you can understand. You don't have to actually experience it to understand these other people, which again you do, but they're just bringing you back up for whatever reason, I guess. But I see you're supposed to live very extreme, and then it kind of brings me back to like, I don't know necessarily the monk music, but it's just like all the songs. So I don't know, maybe you'll be like a Christian singer or something. I don't know. Or it's like, but you see, but it's a very extreme, like from what it feels like, of like where you've been to where you're going. And then they're showing me like Eric Thomas. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really familiar with his work other than he screams a lot. That's not my vibe. I don't really like that. But I know a lot of men like that. So he's like a minister. I don't know if he's necessarily had a tough upbringing. It kind of feels like he has. And they're kind of relating him to you of like, okay, you live the way you did because you need to have that. You need that experience in order to even convey it to other people, right? It's in order for you to, when you go to this next extremity of like where you're I'm not going to say where you're destined to be. Honestly, it feels like that's your highest path. That's where you would have to choose to go. That's where you would feel most content, feel happiest, and feel safest. That's not like living as a, like, I don't know, I'm sure monks aren't allowed to have wives. Priests, I think priests now are kind of allowed. It depends, but it just feels like where your mind is at and where your life is at it's to the other extremity of where you've been, and that pathway to that is really taking every experience that you have and what society may throw at you as far as their judgments or their perception of things, and just throw it to the wayside. And it doesn't matter someone's opinion. You are enough, right? It doesn't matter even the things that you may have done that are potentially destructive. You're still enough. And for you, it really feels like there was a reason why you experienced those things, and that's your biggest challenge in this life, is to have that self acceptance, that self worth, that you don't have to identify yourself with your past. You are more, and nothing in your life is going to be able to overrule. You know, it's the spirit, right? That's not to say what we do is not impactful, but the light carries a lot more strength and is the only thing that's real anyway. The rest of the stuff, anything low vibrational, is really just keeping you and those who co-sign on that bound. But, you know, bound to this limited perception that doesn't negate the light, that doesn't change the light, right? What changes globally is to vibrate, you know, at a higher frequency, and to maintain that higher frequency, and to captivate everyone else with that higher frequency, and so that the collective can really perceive in a higher frequency. That's what works the fastest, is the light, the divine. That's the strongest, that can pierce through all of this. No, I mean, that's basically it. I mean, I do feel, irregardless of whatever you choose, that you're going to get through this, whatever this is, some sort of like difficult experiences that you're having right now. You're going to get through it. It's just kind of like whatever you choose to do from here on out. I see, like, they're showing me like soft hands. Like, I don't know if you have soft hands right now, but it's supposed to be symbolic for me of kind of like a boss, you know, or just kind of like a boss in your own life, and doing things on your terms, and you're not laborious. You don't have to do like hard labor or anything like that. You're meant to, it's something to do with your mind, honestly, you know. Even with this, that could be like a lyricist or something, but it feels like you're supposed to really use your mind for whatever it is that you're really meant to be doing in this world, how you're supposed to be impacting the world, what's meant for you in this world. Something to do with your brain. Do we want to get another, not another, but a card, I guess. Soul, family, and inner voice. Yeah, that this comes through very strongly, because that's what I was hearing before I pulled a card, and so I think that's really why I was hearing another card, because in my mind I saw the inner voice. This is so important. This is so important. Okay, because this is what they're really saying is, you really have to start listening to yourself, and your intuition, your heart, right? It's all guiding you towards divinity, and not looking. This ties all the way back to the beginning when I was talking about like spell work and stuff. You have to pay attention to this, because it's important for you to trust in yourself, and to gain again that self-confidence and that self-worth in what you feel, you know, intuitively is valid and has meaning and has purposeful guidance in that, and not looking to outside sources for this information, whether that's you reaching out to other energies, or taking some sort of guidance above your own. You need to first and foremost listen to yourself and your guidance. It's so important that you do this. It's so important that you keep that inner space so sacred, and don't invite too many energies into your space, especially if you're in a point in your life where it feels very chaotic, low energy, low frequency kind of thing. So that's what I'm getting. Whatever day I'm hearing today, so I don't know whether it's today is in March 5th, or I'm also seeing the number 3, but let's see, today's the 5th, Tuesday. I did want to do Thursday, so I don't know, 3 days, either today, tomorrow, Thursday, or the time of you watching this video. I feel that you're gonna receive some sort of divine message, and it's gonna come through, you know, your inner voice. It's gonna feel like very subtle. It's gonna feel like a whisper, and it's really important that you follow that guidance. You trust it. You fall into that. And it's gonna feel, you know, you're gonna know it's from the right source, because it feels like it's coming from the heart. And they're really pointing out, your guys are really pointing out that you are a good listener. You may not, what I'm saying is, like, you may not act like it in real life, I guess, but you're actually a very good listener. You're an active listener, and you have to focus and play on your strong points. There's a lot of strengths that you have when it comes to your spirit and your willpower, right? It's not anything as far as, again, tying to the ego. It's about who you inherently are and who you've built yourself up to be, in spite of any kind of experiences that you have. To really focus on that, hone in on that, and use that to propel you to a deeper appreciation for who you are. And I'm seeing one other thing, and then it just lost me here. I don't know. I think it's mostly basically just like spirit really comes to you in the quiet, in the whispers, and I'm just hearing, like, I just heard you're more than welcome to come home. Like, you're more than welcome to come home. You're more than welcome at home. You're more than welcome. You're just more than welcome. Always. And, you know, your guides, guardian angels, those cross, like, they do want to connect with you. And the more that you listen, the more that you'll hear. The more that you hear, the more that you can effectively obey in some ways, right? You can follow that more easily, and that's your shield, right? And then I'm seeing the shield is not just acting as a defense, it's also offensive. You can be offensive with your shield. Oh yeah, that's what they're bringing back to the mosh pit. I never really got to, which is what I see with that is I'll show you. So it's like, here's a mosh pit, you know. Here's a mosh pit, and there's like people encircling it, and then there's the people that are in the mosh pit. Some people are going and spinning around and stuff, and then there's other people who are jumping in that are attacking. You know, they're like actually hitting the people that are spinning, right? So there's kind of like the offense and defense when it comes to that, and then people on the sidelines who are just kind of getting pushed around, and then also people who are getting pushed into it and are just getting swept away in the energies. And so what they're pointing out is where you're at currently is somewhere resonating on the outskirts and also getting pushed in, and dark energies are going to frequent your space and find ways to enter into your life or lifestyle in ways that are going to be resonant with you and your weaknesses, right? It's not always going to be one particular way that darkness affects people. It's going to look for what makes sense to you and your experiences, right? And so your spirituality, your connection with God, your connection with your love and appreciation, recognition of who you are and how valid you are to be here and to be who you are, and not be embarrassed of who you are, and not feel like you're an embarrassment for who you are, and not to get tied up in who you are as an ego, you know, as what you identify in this world as, right? That in those ways you could be denying God. So really accepting God and to walk the walk of God being within you, eternally within you, and that you are bigger than just this experience in life and the circumstances that you've been given and that you've walked into, those kinds of things. That your strength is in, your power is in the light and in knowing and appreciating, recognizing and respecting God eternal within you. And that is your shield, your armor, your offense, your defense. And that'll keep you from getting carried away in these energies, where you will be able to actually engage in the mosh pit in a way that you want to, right? The people that do the mosh pits sometimes are having fun. They're actually having fun going in there and doing that. And you, in that way, you can say that you've truly lived, right? To truly live is to truly love, and that's love in all ways, and especially self-love. And so that's what I'm getting, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.